And we are live. Thanks for joining us today, episode number 38 of the Shooter's Mindset. And I am Steve from the Making Masterclass YouTube channel. I will be hosting the show today. Anthony is on a secret mission. He's out doing some crime fighting to save the world, so he is unavailable for today's show. And I have with me my special co-host, Schwell, good buddy of mine, and one of the TSM crew members. How you doing, Schwell?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. Good to be on with this panel today.
Live. Thanks for joining us. All right, very cool, very cool. We appreciate you stopping in, man. Also, the main guest of the show today, Eric Grauffel, IPSC world champion multiple times over. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for you.
Glad to have you, man.
Thank you.
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the sponsors for the show here. We are a member of the Firearms Radio Network, and we want to thank Blade Tech Industries as well as DK Custom Triggers for supporting the show. So check out those guys. They got some pretty good products, and we appreciate their support. And next up, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the giveaway for today. So our giveaway today is pretty cool. One of Eric's main sponsors is Tachyon Gun Cam, and that is the same camera that you'll see Anthony from the Shooter's Mindset use when he is filming his competitive shooting matches. They are going to be throwing out for the giveaway one of their new and improved Tachyon Gun Cam models, and it is the Eric Grauffel Official Special Limited Edition. So that will be our giveaway, as well as 2-ounce bottle of Rand CLP. As usual, Rand, another one of our sponsors. So if you can go ahead and type enter me in the giveaway. Once the show concludes, that'll be the end of the entrance for the giveaway, and you can enter the giveaway in the Q&A section here, or actually you can enter your questions on the Q&A section here at the bottom left of your screen. But if you're going to enter the giveaway, please do that on Facebook as well as on the regular YouTube video. And that's going to wrap that up. We can go ahead and get started with questions here. The first question I'm going to go to for Eric is it possible to have perfect shooting fundamentals, or are fundamentals something you're always working to improve?
It's a good question. I guess perfect fundamental doesn't exist for the simple reason that the competition improves every year, every 10 years, I don't know, every generation. So it's impossible to say that your fundamentals are good or perfect and they will stay perfect. So that means you have to work them. To me, you have to work them every time, every training session. That's for sure.
Good answer. Next up, everybody tends to have a pre-stage routine when they step up to the line. Do you have a pre-stage routine, and what is it, if you don't mind getting into that?
Hard to say. It's not really a routine in the sense that, you know, a lot of people, they have like some tricks or gimmicks. They are doing, you know, some movements. They are doing some, you know, they're playing with their hands. They're playing with their, you know, I don't know, feet, legs, or it's hard to say that I have a routine in that sense because I'm really focused on what I have to do to accomplish and what are what's the stage design, what is requiring in terms of techniques and fundamentals. So I'm more in the routine of repeating in my head in kind of a slow motion what I have to do, where I have to be careful with, which can be either the safety, can be the accuracy, can be the technique itself, because maybe it's a mix of different techniques in one shot you have to do. So I'm more in that process in a slow motion into my head until the buzzer goes off.
Very cool. You've obviously won several world championships in the open division, so you've decided to switch over to production now. How is the challenge different from open to production? I mean, what kind of things do you see possibly being different for you?
I would
Besides
say
the obvious.
technically on the gun side, not much because I shoot a 10 folio either in open or in production. So the gun functioning is the same. Mechanically, there is no difference in terms of the two gun. One is double action, was in single action, but the overall mechanism remains the same. So the process of keeping the match gun running, or when I change the the spring parts, the pins and stuff like this, is still the same. So the routine to maintain the match gun is exactly the same that it was before. Beside this, coming to production, it's different shooters, different competitors, different names, different techniques, different tactics, because the tactic that doesn't get to be the same in the sense that one, you shoot with long sticks, 28, 29 rounds magazine. You shoot in major, the points are not the same, scoring into the targets. The extra shot doesn't cost much in open when it does cost in production, depending even more if you shoot USPSA production, since you have 10 rounds. So the step forward was hard, let's say, on the competition side, and to know the people, to know the game, that was the hardest point, I would say.
Very cool. And you did bring over one of your pistols for us to take a look at, so I'm going to bring Schwell in here. He had a question that actually came in from Anthony about some of the little upgrades and whatnot that you would have done with this pistol. So I'm going to let Schwell ask that question here.
All right.
Are you with us, Schwell?
Yes, I am. Sorry about the delay. I have 8 windows open trying to keep up with all of the questions and everything that are coming in. And Anthony's question was, with your switch to production, what type of modifications did you do to your pistol in order to improve that trigger? You mentioned something about a flat trigger here. What things have you done for that transition?
The first thing is when I started production with Stanfoglio, we knew that the gun was competitive. But the thing is, we didn't have, let's say, any real spare parts made for protection for the shooters, and that's what the people are looking for, to get the parts to make a good, they want to have a nice single action, they want to have a nice double action, they want to have a gun with a small optical fiber front sight. Some of them want the thinner one, the thicker one, the grip. Some people want that big, slimmer. So there's a non-handing demands of variation for the gun. So we actually started a couple of years ago already working on the open, and then we started to work on the production based on that demand. So what we did, first we did here, I don't know if you see it, we made the extreme hammer, which is exactly the same shape than the factory original one. We just redesigned the different hooks inside internally, so we can have a better reset and also a better single action. So the brakes is completely clean and crisp. The sear we are using, we're just using the factory sear, the same they had before, which is the long one-piece sear, which fits perfectly to the extreme hammer. On the other side, we did for production for IPSC and not for USPSA. We made the grips here, which are, you see in gold. They're actually made out of brass, so they're extremely heavy, which is nice to shoot in production because the gun is pretty light. So having an extra weight there on the back for the gun control is pretty neat. But for USPSA, since you have the weight restriction for production gun, it doesn't fit in because this grip is about 3.5 ounces more than just the aluminum grip. So we are exceeding the weight limit. And today I just got in the letter, and this is cool, but I don't know if you guys gonna see it clearly. Let me try to see it closer. That's the new DA trigger that the factory sent me out today. All right, so that's the, you see it here. I'll try to, I didn't have time to install it. It was there like 2 hours ago by the post. So that's the factory one, the one you see here, and the other one right here is the new one. And I don't know if you guys see, but it's much flatter.
Yes, definitely much flatter, less curvature there.
So the
Well, I have a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
When you switch from one trigger to the other, how long does a championship level shooter such as yourself take before you're comfortable using that in competition? Or is that one of those things where you pop it in, a few rounds downrange, you're ready to roll?
I had the prototype, and I'm already using the prototype on the training gun, and then I'm switching for the to shoot the matches on the regular one, because we didn't have it already for to be on the market. So I was still using in the match this one, but I was testing the prototype. The prototype, I have it for the last 3 months already, testing. Back and forth, I don't know, you need what, 5 shots, 6 shots, and you're good. Not much. It's only, if you want, since I'm shooting also still the open gun from time to time, how to say, that new trigger is closer to my open gun trigger in terms of surface, in terms of shape, so the change is easier. The only difference is the double action. Since the trigger is flatter, it brings a little bit the double action trigger slightly forward. So let's say the first shot, it's slightly different, but it's only for the first shot, and then you're much more comfortable for the other shots.
Yeah, you go right into that single action mode, so it's almost like you're back to shooting.
And usually in double action, from what I've seen, it's pretty rare to see the people starting with a hard shot in double action. I mean, only if you're forced to, you'll do it. But other than that, most of the time you use the closer target to make your first double action shot. It's in 95% of the cases, maybe more.
So it ends up not really being that big of a discrepancy.
No.
Fantastic.
Nice.
So I got another good question for you here. If Tanfoglio wanted you to shoot in the revolver division, what would you say to that?
Why not? New game. I made enough open, so I need to change now. Open is enough for me. I made it 5 times. I'm getting old, and the open division is getting younger and younger every single year. So when I was 19, it was not a big deal. I'm 35 now. So I'm the oldest one of the top 10 in the world in
There
open. Well, let's say I was, which means I'm on the line where you're gonna go either on the wrong side, you don't want to go, or just still alive, but you're taking much more risk in the end. So it's stupid to say, but I'd rather go away and say, hey, I did it, and that's fine, done, and just try open from time to time just for the fun of it, than just try one more and just get kicked out, you know?
How do you think the transition would be having to become completely familiar? I don't know how often you shoot a revolver, but it's a completely different game, especially with the reloading aspect. When it comes time to reload for each, you know, would that be a difficult hurdle for you to overcome?
Honestly saying, I tried it. It was a question maybe for me to try revolver for once, and since that 6-shot thing, it's quite boring. Yeah? Just it's good shooting, but the thing is, the competitions are not designed for revolver, so
Right.
that means the people are reloading a 6-shot in a port in a static position. Since it's not real, the competition are not designed for that division specifically for that 6 shots. I don't see any big, you know, motivation, or, you know, I'd say I would find hard to really enjoy that shooting part. Revolver in Steel Challenge is great. It's fun. Because I tried it. We have the home. We do it in Steel Challenge here in home. We do it sometime with revolver. So we are actually doing a category specifically revolver here, and it's fun with the revolver. It's fun to shoot the Steel Challenge because 5 shots you have 1 extra, fine. But IPSC 6 shots, once again, the stages are not designed for it. It's not that fun.
Kind of leaves you in a weird place when you have to reload in a position you wouldn't normally be in due to the capacity there. I can understand that.
Exactly, but because there's no margin, because they place you a position with 8 shots, so no matter what, you have to reload static. You know, when you shoot single stack or you shoot production or with the 10 rounds, they do you a station with 10 rounds. All right, you know that you can do it with no mag change, fine. If you made a mistake, you change mag static, and that's your fault.
Exactly.
But here, that's 6 rounds, and you have 8 to go. That's not, to me, funny in a set of things.
I can totally appreciate that. Another question I had for you is, will you ever shoot standard/limited division, you think?
It's funny because you're not the only one and not the first one asking that question. It's an option.
Not something you're planning on, but you may.
It's an option. I did already in US long time ago when I tried to do a back-to-back. Was 2002 or 2003. Then I just focused on open. There's an interest for Tenfoglio for me to shoot standard. That's clear. I would say it will depend on what's gonna happen in the world shoot in the next one. So it can be the option that I'll just shoot one time production, world shoot, and maybe another time standard. It's a discussion I have to get with the sponsors and decide what they want me to do. So yeah, it's an option. The standard gun is ready. I have it. I use it sometime from time to time. Shoot the match here. So.
Speaking of the world shoot, I will be out there. I am putting together a documentary on the shooting sports, and that will be the highlight of my film. So I'll be out at the world shoot. I'm looking forward to having a moment in between days or whatever to say hello to you and maybe talk to you a little bit. As far as the world shoot is concerned, though, I had a question from a good buddy of ours that watches the show regularly. His name's Andy, and he wanted to know, what will it take for Ben Stugger to beat you at the world shoot?
I can reverse the question. What would it take me to beat Ben Stugger at the world shoot?
There you go.
In both ways, I would say the question is valid, in one way or the other way. I would say it's going to be a long week either for me and either for him, because we know each other. We're friends. We know that we both put efforts into that championship. I already know that he has the potential. He's younger than me, so that I would be happy, at least if I don't win, that he wins, because at least I would know for myself, for my little heart, to say that it's a younger person than me that beats me. That would be easier. But no, it's gonna be a hard match, definitely. Ben's gonna be on his ground in USA, on the club he knows. Stages will be IPSC, but he's training for it. He has a good gun. Now he shoots the same Italian gun. He's getting the same parts that I do. So exactly. So it's gonna be really, for once, I would say, a competition between the two person. I don't think the gun now will be involved into the race.
Right.
The two persons to compete and fight each other. So I hope we'll have a chance to be in the same squad together. That would be fantastic. I don't know exactly if that will work, because usually the squadding by the ranking of the teams. Of course, USA team is the first one in production, but the French team is far away in the world ranking. But I hope we can get a chance to be in the same squad, so we can shoot together first as friends, to have a good time together and a good fight, but also as a competitors, so we can really have the people watching us for the win.
Yeah, that's gonna push both of you guys a little bit, I think. Have you competed against Ben in the past?
Well, we've competed, I would say 4 or 5 times together already in the past, for the last 2-3 years. Pretty much, yeah.
Shooting the same division.
Yeah, Right. Well, Ben shoots for now. If I'm not mistaken, he's just shooting production
Right.
in the US. But I shot USPSA twice, and I shoot the IPSC National twice in the US. So it's at least 4 times.
Very nice.
At least 4 times. But you know, a lot of people on the internet are talking about either Ben or either me, but there's also other top competitors worldwide, and either also from US. We have JJ, we have Matt, but we have also international shooters, and you never know who can come, you know, because me and Ben will be under pressure, but some of the other guys, they also want to win, and they can also come from the side, and we don't see them coming. So it's also you have to be aware that there's also potential for an outsider to come in.
There you go. And Max is definitely another strong competitor. You mentioned him. So I'm going to announce the giveaway one more time here real quick. We're at about 22 minutes into the show. We are giving away on this episode a Tachyon gun cam, and it's not just any old Tachyon gun cam. It is the new upgraded version. It is the special edition for Eric Grauffel. So if you guys want to get in on the giveaway, please go ahead and type in the box at the bottom there, enter me in the giveaway. And we'll also be giving away a little RAND CLP, which we like to do pretty regularly here. So go ahead and type enter me in the giveaway on the YouTube channel or on Facebook. And we're going to go over to Schwell. I think Schwell may have a question for you here.
Yes, Eric, I have a question from Matthew Ivancic. He says, I see Eric shooting with his finger on the trigger guard and wanted to ask how that started and if there is any advantage to shooting that way.
No, it's a good question, but there's, I would say, no advantage and no disadvantage to do it. It's actually more, you know, there's two, let's say most of the people, they shoot, I don't know if we see like this, all right, most of the people, they shoot like this, and I would say maybe we're 5 or 10% in the world to shoot in that position. It's more a position where I feel comfortable, and the angle I have on my wrist, it's really comfortable. It's to me more aligned than being underneath where I have my wrist with the slight angle, and I can feel the tension right here on the top of the hand and the forearm. When I'm here, it's more aligned with the hand and the bones, and to me feels more comfortable. So that's what I usually tell the people, you know, both options are good when I teach. Both options are good. Just take the one that you feel comfortable. That's, I would say, the most important when you shoot.
Now, I have another question. This question is about you being an international shooter. You're not here in the U.S. I know you do come over here frequently and shoot competitions, but where you are, and I believe you are in France,
yeah.
Can you just get up and go to the range and shoot whenever you want?
Yeah. If the range is doing like this, it all depends if people have a private range and they're forcing to go at the opening hours. But like the where I am, it's I won't say 24 hours open, but from the sunrise till the sunset.
Nice. That's just one of those questions I always want to ask because, you know, the U.S. is known for being gun friendly, and I'm not too familiar with it in other countries.
We have a good. The law has changed for us in France about the last September. Well, it was modified July, but applied in September. We have some new good stuff. We have less restriction. We had restriction of 7 guns. Now we have the restriction to 12. We have the permit for 5 years instead of 3 in the past. We have no restriction in the sense that how much ammunition we spend in terms of shooting, but we can't buy more than 1,000 per gun a year. But we can, you know, load as many as we want. So get the primers, get the shells, and everything. So that's not a big deal. So we can reload, no problem. We have a restriction about magazine capacity, which is 20 rounds for pistol and 30 rounds for rifle, unless you have a certificate that you shoot IPSC. in for France. So with that certificate, then we have no more restriction in terms of capacity, which that's a good point, and that's part of the law. And the only thing we have a restriction, which to me it's not very nice, we are limited to 10 magazines per gun. So 10 mags per gun, as you know, 10 mags can go very quick. When you shoot, if you shoot like me, internationally, for some countries you need the 10 rounds magazine. So if you need a 10 rounds magazine, so you need to fly with 10 magazine immediately, and then you need another 10 magazines for your USPSA IPSC competition. So you're already at 20, and you're breaking the law again. So.
Wow. Now, could you have those magazines? I know that some people have done this in certain states in Florida to get around the laws. Can you have those magazines possibly in parts?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is in the law, it's not clear. So, from let's say the understanding, I would say yes, you can have in parts, and then you can have as many as you want.
Right.
But it's
kind of pushing it though.
Not clear how that gonna work really if you get into a discussion and the fight. So, well, at least it's 10 mags per gun. So you know, if you have 12 guns, you have 120 mags. But by my logic, if my understanding of the law would be right, that would be logic that you have 10 magazine per gun of the correct caliber. Example, I cannot have 20 mags of 40. I have only one gun in 40 cal under my name. So, you know, it's stuff like this. So, but yes, it seems that apparently we can have the magazine strip and we are good. But nobody wants to confirm it officially.
Right. Now, you were shooting STI before, and you switched over to the 10 folio. What do you like better about the 10 folio?
It's a different gun. It's Italian and it's sexy in a certain way. Everything which is made in Italy is sexy. He's laughing about that, but
Well's Italian, so you know.
You know, and I used to shoot. Actually, it was Infinity before, and in '96 I switched to 10 folio. They actually took me into the factory as a kid, as part of the family, and from there, you know, there's no limit into testing, building guns, helping them, and trying to find the best combination for the gun to make them run. And I mean that probably changed my life in a way that probably I would have done studies like most of the people, and they really gave me the opportunity to step into the shooting world and work into the industry.
Very nice. So if you could change one of the rules in IPSC, is there a certain rule you'd like to change? What would it be?
I don't know. The rules are pretty good. There's few things I would go today. In what you have in USPSA limited, and for us IPSC standard, we're using the same restriction about the belt, the holster, and the pouches restriction, what you don't have in USPSA. To me, a standard gun today is kind of a race gun, and I would go for the same rules than USPSA about how to have your holster and the belt set up, so more as an open style. Beside this, in production, since now I'm into the rules and between what you are allowed and not allowed, production, I like the idea about IP6 that you have to change only by the factory parts or certain parts, which is good, but it's impossible to get a control on it. From what I've seen, even if by myself I get to be controlled more often, they already stripped twice my gun last year and one time at the European last year just to check. It's impossible for them to know exactly what is good, what is not good, and we need to find a way, or I mean the IPSC has to find a way that would be nice to enforce that rule. That would be better.
Cool, cool. I have a question coming in from Anthony, the regular host of the show here, and he was curious to know about your thoughts on. I said Gabby earlier when we were talking pre-show. Her name is actually Maria Gushina. What your thoughts on her as a competitor? Because she's looking pretty awesome as an up and comer.
She is. She shoots really good. Yeah, that's definitely. She actually won a level 4 in Thailand all over all the boys.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, I would guess. Because nobody, I mean, no ladies has won level 4 overall. So she's definitely a good shooter. She also shoots a good gun. She shoots a 10 folio, so it's that's a good point. Now, you know, she's still young. She won the first time wall shoot, but you know, winning once, it's one thing. The second win makes the difference because everybody's waiting to get the title as well, and that's a different story because she will be defending when this time for the male in the overall for Ben and for me, none of us is defending. We are both racing, and the other guys are all racing since the actual world champion production is going for standard now. So yeah.
Good answer. Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be huge if she can defend that title because it legitimizes. Nobody can ever say that it was just lucky or, you know, everything was going her way and not working towards the other people's way. If she defends that title, there's no doubting that she's where she's supposed to be. So
That's true, but it's the same thing. It's the same that I have seen for myself. You know, also she won a lot of competition here in Europe and in Asia as well. But I've seen in the US the girls are also training quite a lot. So the girls will be training hard since the wall shoot will be in the US. And the US is probably the most competitive country in IPSC. It's gonna be hard for all people, all shooters outside the US to go and win there. It's gonna be hard. That's for sure, 100%. No matter who you are, what you are, what you do, which division you are, the US will be for sure ready and strong that time.
Nice, nice. So I want to do another quick shout out here. Of course, we are the Shooter's Mindset on the Firearms Radio Network, and a lot of love for the support they're showing us. The Firearms Radio Network, a bunch of great channels on that. Also, DK Custom Triggers and Blade Tech Industries. I want to give them a quick thanks and a shout out. Remind you guys once again, we got a giveaway, Tachyon Gun Cam. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button on the channel here and like this video and say enter me in the giveaway so that you can get in for a chance to win. We'll stop taking entries once the show concludes. That's it. You can also enter over on the Facebook page. Facebook.com/The Shooter's Mindset. So go over there and give that a like. Check out Schwell11 on YouTube and myself making masterclass on YouTube. And we're going to move into another question here, and then once I ask this one, Schwell's got one lined up. So it appears that you recently joined Team JP Rifles. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so do we have some 3-gun in your future, hopefully?
So since as we were talking about the law change last July and now applied September, they allowed us to shoot IPSC rifle, and because before it was completely not, I wouldn't say forbidden, but not, let's say, authorized. And so now it's officially legal, and by the law and by the federation. So it's a very good news for us. We're having our first French national this year, so it's a new game. I start practicing, I start learning. I had to start working. I mean, it's different. You have to work on how to say no. I will let me start again. It was like when I started IPSC with a pistol. It was like discovering new stuff, like a kid, you know. I have to load my I have to load the ammunition. I have to compare the different thing. I have to change try different barrels, try different scopes, try what works the best. And the last 4 months was just about testing, and it was really funny to test everything, the different powders, the load, different load, bullet weights, and all the thing. Now the whole thing is good. I start practicing. I shoot about 200 to 200 rounds, 250 rounds. Not every day, but once every 2 days with the rifle. So I'm playing with the pistol and then another 200 rounds rifle, and it's pretty fun. It's really fun. It's different techniques, different. You have different problems. You know, when I shoot the barricade with the pistol, and you do the same barricade with a rifle, it's a different story.
A whole different ball game. I got you. Very cool. I think you're the third Team Arms Corps member that we've had as well, so that's really cool. I'm a big Mike Seeklander fan, and I shoot a Rock Island Armory 1911 chambered 9mm sometimes when I shoot IDPA, so
Right.
I like Arms Corps a lot. Cool company as well.
They're really nice. We used to when we were presenting also at the SHOT Show, the 22 TCM. It's a fantastic gun. It's unbelievable how that guns shoot fast and how fast you can go with that. It's unbelievable. I like it a lot. I'm just waiting for Tenfolio to make it. Actually, Martin at Armscore, the owner of the Armscore, told me that they were working on building a barrel for Tenfolio, and I can't wait to have one of those gun and barrel running.
Nice. The beauty with Arms Corps is, especially with the Rock Island Armories, those guns are so unbelievably economical. Price-wise, you cannot beat it. And my gun shot beautiful right out of the box. No issues, no break-in, just boom, boom, boom every time. So, very cool company. Schwell, you had something lined up there. You got a question for us, buddy?
Yes, this is basically a two-part question. This is from RL on YouTube. He said, what is your recommended training routine for practice? Do you set up mock stages or primarily drills before a big match? Did we lose him? Did we lose me?
It looks like he may have froze here. Sorry about the delay, folks. Hopefully he'll be able to get out and get back in right away.
That wasn't me that froze. It's him that froze?
Right. That would be Eric. In the meantime, we go back to the Rock Island Armory thing. I am loving that gun. And, you know, Mike Seeklander talks a lot about that gun. And, you know, I figured, why not? I want to try a 1911 in competition. STI is usually the go-to gun, but I don't like to go with the crowd. You know, I like to do things my own way. And I can't say enough good stuff about that gun. I mean, you came out to the range with me, Schwell. We both put several rounds down range. I did a little video on my channel just to give people an overview of the pistol. And, man, for a sub $400 gun, it's really, really difficult to beat.
It feels great. It shoots really well. That trigger is a 1911 trigger. And these are all things that we discussed in that video we recorded on your channel. But, again, the price, its function, and the benefits of using that platform in 9mm, it is hard to beat.
You've been playing around a little bit with the Tavor. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that while we wait on Eric to get back in?
Well, you know, recently it was awarded Rifle of the Year by the NRA at the NRA show, and they deserve it. I've had it for a little under a month now. I have about 700 rounds through it, and I'm trying to figure out a way to get one without having to sell a couple of other guns first. You know, they're very popular right now. They're flying off the shelves, and they deserve it. I'm abusing this thing. The guy that I borrowed it from, he abuses it, and it is just taking all the abuse and running with it. Getting used to it a little bit, you know, it took a little bit of an adjustment because it is a bullpup. I'm not used to having bullpups and shooting them as much as I've shot this one, but it's a great platform. It's just, at first it was a little awkward for me learning the controls. Once you get used to it, I can honestly say that it feels good enough to where you want to replace all of your rifles with it. It's accurate. You still have that long barrel. It feels really great. The control is easy, and you can use the same the same platform for both long distance shooting and CQB. The gun is short enough, and because of its bullpup design, it's very maneuverable. You know, so it's one of those things where I'm being teased with it because I don't own it. I want one now. They're kind of pricey for what they are, but and the availability is kind of low right now because they're so popular. But they're popular for a reason. These are one of those guns that isn't a product of hype, but a product of how well it's built and the effort that was put into it.
They're an Israeli company, is that correct?
Correct.
Very cool. I got to shoot the gun a little bit with you a couple weeks ago, and man, that was cool. I've never shot a bullpup before, but I enjoyed the heck out of that thing. Having a full 16-inch barrel, but having the entire mechanism real small, that was awesome. So, welcome back, Eric.
Nice.
I'm glad you were able to pop back in there, buddy.
I like 4G. I don't know why the diesel went down, so.
No worries. I got another question I can go right to here for you. We're at the 42-minute mark of the show, so we got about 18 minutes or so left. And question is, when working with students, what is something you frequently see that they need to do better? So what would be the number one thing you pick up on that students probably most often need to have corrected or improve upon?
Usually, I would say it's accuracy. But some of them, they know how to shoot to be accurate and get good groups and stuff like that. They just want to go too quick. So when you get them a buzzer, it's just like, woohoo, let's go. We have to make it quick. And then it just shoots usually too fast and they make mistakes. So it's most of the time, I would say it's that.
Very cool. Another question I have for you here. What is the most difficult shot on a stage? Sorry about that, phone going off here. What is the most difficult shot on a stage for you? Is it typically a piece of steel, a swinger, a target covered by a no-shoot, or something else?
It's hard to say because every shot has its own difficulty. I would say I don't like prone with no shoots.
Prone with no shoots.
It's I think Ben will remember if he's watching, or if he's now, I should text him. He will remember what happened to him if a prone target and with some no shoots in there. And for me it's probably the hardest one. Either open or production. It's that the position is not comfortable, I think.
Kind of gives you a strange trajectory and having to work around having the no-shoot there.
Yeah, well, you know, it's with the rifle, it's very comfortable when you shoot far distance. You know, I was like 2 weeks ago shooting at 400 yards. It's perfect. You know, you can make good groups, prone, and everything. But with a pistol, it's a different story. You know, the length of your the sight you have between your eyes and the sights on your gun is so short. So you have the feeling you're good, and then when you go downrange and you get to see your target, say, woo, it's super surprise. Sometimes it's low, sometimes it's too high, sometimes it's not even in the target when you have like a very tiny one. So
very cool. I want to thank real quick too Andy Stevens. He threw together a list of questions that is just amazing, and most of the questions I pulled here have been from his questions list. He's a USPSA master over here in the States, and super good guy, and I'm loving the questions he gave me. Moving forward, another one of the questions that he had left for me, and I think this is a really cool question. I want you to get deep with this one. If you could talk to a 15-year-old Eric Grauffel, what advice would you give him, knowing what you know now?
It's a good call. I'm actually already trying to start teaching my kid because he wants to come, and he's coming already at the range with me. So there's two options. I was actually also discussing about this, not exactly question, but about the strategy of how should I handle. So let's reverse it to my kid to make him a better shooter than I was, or better than I I could have been. So um, there's different options out there. Should we consider the kid, a 15 years old kid, as an adult and talk to him as an adult, since we are doing a shooting sport with the handgun, or I mean with guns in general, and try to explain him exactly how it works, how the people work, because you're gonna enter not, let's say, a teenager sport. You're entering a sport where the majority of the people are adults, and between the 20 and 25 years old, there's not many of them, so most of them are more than 25 years old, and then the majority is around 35 to 45. I would say that's 50% of the people shooting. And I think it's not easy. It's not easy for the kid, because for a kid, they come to play. They come to enjoy the sport, to enjoy the moment. So I wouldn't think that that's the right way to do. Then we try to start thinking, all right, let's just try to make it to protect that kid and just make him enjoy the sport, enjoy the shooting, so he gets really protected and he's just taking care of his shooting. This is more or less what happened to me. The only problem is that you're doing this, you usually cut off all the social relation that that kid can have. The only relation he has is with adults, and so you're not, let's say, building his life and his teenage life. So to make that, I would say you need to have like 4 little kids, or at least more than 2, so that they can grow up into the shooting and you can get them know each other, so that they live the shooting in their own teenage world.
Yeah, they got a super advantage there, having daddy there who pretty much can show them all the tricks and tips. That's awesome.
Yeah, but the thing is, as I said, daddy's old now. Daddy is like, is in his world. He has his friends. So when he talks to the people, it's adults. So it's not the same for a kid. If I have to bring my kid with me in a competition, and then when the competition is over, at the end of the day, what he's doing, he's going with me behind the shop. So he will see only the people, the buyers, and then he will go to the restaurant with the other people. How many teenagers will be around the table? Only him? So you see what I mean? That you're cutting the social life of that teenager. So the only way, the best way I would love to, is to have like 2, 3 kids around with me, so that I can build up like a small team of kids. That would be awesome.
Awesome. Schwell, you want to get back to that question that you had when we lost Eric there? That was a good question.
Yes, this question was from RL, and this was on YouTube. He said, what is your recommended training routine for practice, and do you set up mock stages or primarily drills before a big match?
All right. First thing, I never shoot stages, because if I start building stages, I will stop doing competitions, since I can probably do better stages at home than I can find in competitions. So I don't do stages at training, for that simple reason that when I go in competition, at least I get to shoot stages, which makes me happy. And then it's hard for me to have to make critics on the stage build, no matter what they are good or not good, because since I don't shoot stages at home, I'm happy anyhow. The second point is drills. I don't really do drills in the sense that they are. For me, a drill is repetitive. So that means you will do a drill yesterday, tomorrow, and today and tomorrow. Sorry, and then you will compare yourself. I do a lot of exercises, so I'm building stuff, placing targets here and there, and just and practicing different techniques. So it comes to a drill, but the drill is never the same every day.
Nice. Nice.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Another question to add on to that. You do a lot of practice and you do a lot of firing between your rifle and your pistol. I know you said you transition from day to day. How much shooting, or how many rounds do you think you go through per year?
Well, it's hard to say, because I have I can go up to 200 round 200, let's say, or 250,000. But sometimes I go down to 100,000 or maybe less. For example, the last 5 weeks I was just traveling, competition here and there. So in 5 weeks I did practice maybe 2,000 rounds and shot maybe 3,000 in competition. So now I'm back home. Like today, I shot 800 rounds today, and I shot another 700 yesterday. And tomorrow I will shoot, and Friday I will shoot because now I'm home. So roughly, it's hard. Usually, I used to shoot when I'm home. I shoot 500 to 600 rounds per day, and about 5 to 6 days a week.
I saw an estimate on your page there, ericgrauffel.com, and it said something along the lines that you would estimate since 1995 you shot about 3 million rounds total.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's awesome. That's an awesome number. Amazing.
But I still have to. The only thing is I have to load them. It takes time.
There you go. We got to get you a sponsor, man, for ammo, straight ammo.
Amscore is doing good. They're right here.
Yeah, there you go. We're going to wind the show down now. We're at the 52-minute mark, and I'm going to run through the sponsors again. We are Firearms Radio Network run production, and want to thank DK Custom Triggers as well as Blade Tech Industries. One more time, the giveaway. We have a Tachyon gun cam, the new improved version, and it is the Eric Grauffel limited edition. So get your vote in, your entry for the giveaway, and just type it in at the bottom of the comment section on YouTube here or over on our Facebook page, The Shooter's Mindset on Facebook.
I'll go also on Facebook and click it so I can play for that camera too.
There you go. And we're going to run into the lightning round now. The lightning round is something we do at the end of every show, and it's going to be a quick one-word answer and just your opinions. So real quick, the lightning round is going to start off with, in a fight, who you got, Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris?
Bruce.
Bruce Lee. 2011 or Tonfolio?
Tonfolio, of course.
Obviously. All right, 9mm or 40 cal?
9mm.
All right, zombies are outside, and you need to protect yourself, your family, whatever. Choose one, rifle, shotgun, or pistol.
Too bad you don't have a grenade, but I would have gone grenade. It's faster sometimes. But I would say, what you said? You said rifle, pistol?
Rifle, pistol, shotgun. Which one?
And I have to defend. I will go shotgun.
Shotgun, good choice. And that's pretty much it for the lightning round. I was going to throw one more in. If you had to eat fast food, and I'm sure that you prefer not to, would you go Taco Bell, McDonald's, or Burger King?
Oh, guys. Jesus, not even a European fast food. Let's go. You know, I never tried Taco Bell yet in the US. I should try at least once.
I don't know about that, but...
No, at least to know, so not to be stupid in my answer. But now I'll go McDonald's because at least I know it. But you know what? Actually, the McDonald's in Mexico are better than in the US. They are more tasty.
No. Well, let's switch up the question. If I were coming to France to hang out with you, which fast food restaurant would you take me to? What would be your first choice?
Fast food? No way. You're not gonna go in fast food.
Well, where would you take me?
French restaurant, but I don't know the name yet. Depend where we are, but I'll find you a good restaurant. Not for sure, not fast food.
Okay, all right.
You know what to
Fair
look
enough.
for.
Fair enough.
No, we don't use. We have some chain restaurants here, but you know it's a chain restaurant, so everything is the same no matter which restaurant you are and which city you are. We have plenty good restaurants all around. Like you have some good ones in the U.S. too. So I rather like to go. You know, when I travel a lot, I rather like to go and try the food, some small places and where the food is made by just a small company or a small small family owning the place.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for coming out and taking the time to spend with us. We really appreciate it, and we want to wish you luck and all your future endeavors as well. Did you want to throw out any of your sponsors or any of
Well,
that stuff?
the list is pretty long, but you know, I always thank all the sponsors. They're starting with me from the beginning. I mean, Tenfolio and Hanscore has been with me early in the beginning. CCI is also with the primers is helping me a lot from the US. Then we have GP now since a year. Taken also about a year now. We are working together. I got a Sprinkle from the US as well, so a recoil reducer, which I do use for the 40 cal. What else? I will forget I have Rescomp for the holster, the belts, and the pouches. All the people are supporting me. You know, it's I have like a family. The most of the sponsors I have, they are helping me since '99, so it's already 15 years. Most of them are supporting me. Seymour also since 2001 or 2002. So I mean, it's I have people following me for years and years, and for that I can only be grateful for that.
Perfect. All right, Schwell, did you want to throw any last thoughts of the day in for us and tell us about your channel a little bit real quick?
Well, you guys can come check me out, Schwell11 on YouTube. I cover, I started with airsoft. Now I'm doing a lot of competitive shooting and just shooting in general. Shout out to my sponsors, Special Ops Tactical out of Apopka, Florida, thegearlocker.net, who I contribute to video reviews and also written reviews. Also wanted to give a shout out to D Stein Designs. They make a lot of my t-shirts that I wear when I appear on this show. Oh, and Combat Shooting Sports. Can't forget them, my #1 sponsor.
There you go. And of course, check out my channel, Making Masterclass on YouTube. Once again, thanking DK Custom Triggers as well as Blade Tech Industries and the Firearms Radio Network for making all this possible. Again, one last thank you to Eric, and that's going to conclude The Shooter's Mindset, episode 38. Eric Grauffel.
Thank you, guys.
Good stuff.